Good morning, everybody. It is 11:11. Some people are asking me, why do you do your shows at 11:11 or 1:11? Well, because I found this thing about angel numbers recently, and I noticed, have you ever noticed that sometimes you look at the clock and it's the same time every day? There's only 2 opportunities in each day for that to happen. Well, I was noticing 11:11 and 1:11 almost every day for several weeks. So I was like, what the heck is that all about? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, angel numbers. I like 1:11 and 11:11 because I don't remember what it means, but it's really cool. Maybe Veronica can help us when she comes on. Actually, look it up, Veronica, if you don't know, because I'm going to ask you in just a minute. I'm excited today to introduce my guest, but before I do that, I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about who I am and what I do. My name is Lynda Sunshine West, and I started a company called Living Live because I've done so many live videos, and I realized that doing live videos helped to give me a lot of confidence to grow and a lot of confidence to put myself out there, getting on stages and all of this stuff. And that's why my company name is Living Live. And I help driven women entrepreneurs gain confidence to ask for their worth. Oh my God, that's something I struggled with for a long time. And then to gain clarity so that they attract clients to them. And that's something that Veronica and Aaron and I were just talking a little bit about. We'll talk a little bit about that today as well. And then to gain focus so that they can get faster results. Awesome. I love it. It's what I do, and I love doing what I do. So today, though, I'm going to introduce you to Veronica and Aaron Garcia. They're teachers in the field of transformation. They combine their knowledge and experience in health, energy, emotional healing, and intuitive abilities. They help others create positive changes in their lives, starting from within, using their VA process. Does not stand for virtual assistant. It stands for vibrational alignment process. Aaron and Veronica are the hosts of the Facebook Live show called Awaken Your Spirit, which airs Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm going to pop on the screen where you can reach them. But you guys, welcome Aaron and Veronica. Veronica and Aaron, you guys changed your names. I thought it was Aaron and Veronica, and now all of a sudden it's Veronica and Aaron. I'm like, I'm confused. Just kidding. How are you guys doing today?
Well, the reason why we did that, if you look at the way we are on the screen, Veronica's here and I'm here. Yeah. So we just changed the name. So you see the VA up in the back right here. It's like we just put it where we are at.
There we go. There we go. So your Facebook page is going to have to be changed too, right? Because we got Facebook, Aaron and Veronica. You have to change that to Veronica and Aaron.
And many people for a while are telling you guys need to switch your name to Veronica and Aaron. They want to put Veronica in the front.
Well, of course.
It's because usually the short people go in front. That's all people.
Isn't that funny? Because I'm only 5'4", and so I'm usually one of those ones who's standing in the front too. And I sometimes just want to stand in the back, but you can't see if I'm in the back.
That's true.
Exactly. It's like, somebody, would you lift Lynda up on your shoulders so that people can see? You ever feel like that, Veronica?
I do, and I'm actually 5 feet tall. So I'm a lot.
Oh, you are. Yeah. I'm tall. I'm towering over you.
You are.
We used to give Veronica a booster seat when we first started our show with like chairs. But now we're good and we're even.
Yeah.
I'm totally gonna get you one of those. I'm gonna get you a VAC. Oh my God! I just realized it. You guys are brilliant. VA, Veronica and Aaron. VA, vibrational alignment. Is that on accident, or is that like, well, let's do this?
No, that was actually inspired by you, Lynda.
It was?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, I think it was you were on another show or doing something, and I think we were on the feed, and you were talking about the process that we do, and you said, "What is your process called? I'd love to know. I just don't know what it's called." And we're thinking, because we always thought about what is that process called,
and it took us forever just to come up with
years to understand what it was. And I think just from a branding perspective, when we're talking about vibration and alignment things we talk about, it's like VA process. I was like, that's perfect branding. Let's go with that.
We're like, why didn't we think of that earlier?
It just came to us because you asked a question and the answer came.
That's awesome. And that is so often is the case, right? Sometimes because we're going on our daily lives and things are happening, and then somebody asks us a question, we're like, I never thought of that. That is so cool. How many ideas have you had that were inspired by other people?
Oh, tons.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Tons.
Yeah. Can you count them on one hand? No.
And I can't even think of them right now. But, when you go back and you're like, oh, yeah, this person, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have thought about this. But it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. I was thinking like when I was working in the corporate world, I was there for 36 years. And really, I didn't think about that kind of stuff. I didn't really think outside of my little box that I was living in, right? And then once I, jumped out to the entrepreneurial world, oh my God, things just totally changed. And I started hearing and seeing and listening more. And which kind of takes us to kind of like along the lines of what you guys do. You do the feeling and hearing, feeling, and seeing and stuff. So why don't you guys share with the audience what it is that you two do and how you got together to do this together? Because I really love this story about where you guys started and what you're doing now.
Okay, well, I guess we'll go to how we, started together, where it came to be. Aaron, he had a chiropractic office, and at that time I was doing Reiki healing, that's energy healing, and I was also using some microcurrent to help people in that area. It's really for pain management, but it uses electricity and current to really break through the blockages. And
so wait, for those who don't know what that is, what Reiki healing is, you want to just kind of like explain a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, it's really using like universal life energy to kind of, I'm like the conductor. So it's like sending that energy to the other person. And a lot of it too is intention. And it helps, to balance the chakras and help with pain or different things. And in that process, I found out that I can feel people. Like I can feel where their pain is in their body, also their emotions. And when Aaron was doing some emotional work with some of his clients, I would feel it before it even came up for them. So he would ask a question and right away the tears would start coming up. And I was feeling, where their pain was. So where they were holding that emotional pain that was causing physical pain in their body. And so I would tell him kind of with sign language, like check here, and he would check it and it would show up.
And so eventually we were thinking we need to, rather than doing everything separate, it's like, what if we were to bring those two aspects together? And so then Veronica would be there with all of my patients I had at the time. And she would go here and I would find it. And there it was. And when I was doing the emotion work, it allowed me to know that I was getting to the right concept. And then we were just at an event that we were training in this emotional work that we do. And she was feeling like everybody. And then we learned that we don't have to actually physically test people in person, that she can feel them from wherever they're at. And then what eventually it evolved into was we realized that we can expand the people that we work with, because one of the challenges we had, we would go to all these events and meet great people, but none of them were local. They were all in different states or different countries. It's like, how can we work with these people? It's like, I can't physically work on them if they're not here. But because with Veronica's intuitive abilities, we were able to actually do stuff where now we could do it like here on a video chat and still work with people from all over the world. And we were getting this exact same result with them. And so that's how our process has evolved over the last few years. And it's still evolving to where now it's going to be understanding that it's when we're working with someone's emotions, that's just a conglomeration of all the past experiences, all the thoughts they've been thinking, and everything that they perceive their world to be from the time of conception up until now. And when we're trying to make big changes in our life, what stops us? A lot of times it's our emotions. And so when we help people to shift their emotional concept, their perception on things and situations, their whole energy starts to change. Their energy can just be the way they think, their energy, the way they feel. That's our emotions, our energy. And so when we can learn to shift that, that's what we call about vibration. Vibration is energy and how we feel and what we think on frequencies. We shift that vibration and put them right back into alignment where they want to be with their goal. Then by law of attraction, things start to come into their life like they expect them to, or sometimes unexpectedly, it just comes to them.
And that's how the VA process came, vibrational alignment. So we aligned them to their goal, to what it is they want. And because when you're out of vibrational alignment, that's when you start feeling like the not so good feelings. And that's when you know you're not vibrationally aligned with what you want.
It's so interesting because Veronica, when did you discover that you had this ability? And then when you did discover that and you told people, like, how did that I don't know, like what were their reactions, right? Because I'm imagining like, oh, you were a little kid and you told somebody this and they were like, oh, that's not real or whatever. That's what I'm imagining. But what really happened?
Well, when I was a little kid, I would say I suppressed a lot of my emotions because the household I grew up in, there was, some violence there. My dad was abusive with my mom, also with us. And it wasn't a daily occurrence, but it was when he would snap and he would just lose it. That's when, we were living in fear, and you can relate to that as well. So whatever I was feeling, I suppressed a lot of it until, and I would say it wasn't until I started doing the Reiki where I was really feeling other people, like the pain that was in their body, their emotions. And I would tell them, I'm like, is there anything going on in this part of your body? And they're like, yeah. As a matter of fact, there is. And I would let them know that I was feeling that. And sometimes I would get snapshots of images or something. And a lot of times it was spot on with what was going on in their life. And I also did the long distance healing. So I could, the same effect, I would still feel what was going on with them and their emotions or where the energy was stuck. And sometimes like in the throat, if their throat chakra was off, I would feel like like when there's a knot stuck in there, and I would let them know. And so throat has to do with expressing. And, so I would feel all these different things throughout my body. And so when we combined everything, with Aaron's work, it just made the whole process so much faster. But we realized that the emotions is where everything starts, because the physical pain and what's going on with the body is just the manifestation of their thoughts and their emotions. So if you work up here in the mind first to think positive, to have a positive mindset, the body will, it'll just heal itself. And a lot of times you won't get disease and you won't get, symptoms of things.
Because the body is just the filter, is the emotional filter. And that's how we experience what our thoughts are. We feel it through our body.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a coffee filter. Just kidding.
In a sense, it's like our emotional filter.
Aaron's like, what the heck is Lynda talking about now?
No, but think about it.
No, it's true.
What do you do with a coffee filter? It's like you put the coffee in, the coffee filters, and you make what you need to, and you consume it, and you go. And then what happens if you don't change the filter? Yeah,
that's true. And you said something, Veronica, that really hit for me. And I was like, because I remember, until I was 51, I was very suppressed also, right? I had a lot of abuse growing up, and that caused me to just kind of shut down. I became a people pleaser. I had a lot of fears and all this stuff. And till I started to go on this journey to discover, like, who am I really here while I'm here? I used to get a lump in my throat often. And so when you said that, the throat chakra, which I've heard that term before, I'm not really I don't dive into the spiritual stuff, but I get it. Like I get it. I think I'm a spiritual person. I just don't learn about it. And so I would get that lump in my throat. Is that kind of, what does that mean? And I guess just what does that mean? And how can you break through that lump in your throat kind of feeling?
Well, it means like you're not expressing something. So it's like there's something that you probably want to say, but you're holding back from expressing it, or maybe you don't feel safe to be able to express it. And, it could be a lot of different things, but it's really, it has to do with expression and not being able to express.
Okay, well, cool. I want to say hi really quickly. We say Abigail. She says, "Finally caught you live! Yay!" Awesome. Eric Swanson, Mr. Awesome himself, in the house. Lynda Sunshine West Rocks. Hello, Eric. So, Aaron, when you first met Veronica, and then she started to say, "Hey, check," doing the sign language, right? Check this, check that, and all that stuff. You're like, "Ooh, this girl likes me." No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. So anyway, what my question for you, Aaron, is when you first met her, from that time until now, which is, first you can tell us how many years that's been, but during that time, do you notice yourself starting to you gain some of the same kind of experiences that Veronica has? Are you tapping into that realm more? What's going on?
So when we first met, I was completely opposite of Veronica. So I was more in the rational mind. Like I need to have proof. I need to see things. And there's really, I was in the science. I had the doctor's mindset. I was in the scientific realm, and but I was into different types of healing. And I did a lot of muscle testing because I found personally for myself and for clients that I wanted to find things that helped me understand what was really going on. And when Veronica and I met, we weren't getting into all of this work. We were doing the emotional work in the ways that I knew how. And I would do some work on her because she had experienced it before we met. And it wasn't until maybe about a few years later, maybe like a couple years later, when we eventually got our own office together. And it's like when we finally got some elbow room where we can do exactly what we wanted to do. Because when you're, leasing spaces in other people's offices, you're kind of stuck with doing, what does this office relate to? So we couldn't do all the work that we really wanted to do. And it wasn't even after we got our own place together, as we started to eventually, it just over time, she started to show things. And I, just knowing Veronica and just experience after experience, I started to gain trust in what she was able to do. And then later on, as we started getting into more of this work and I started to believe more and trust in it, is we started to meditate. I started learning how to tune into myself. She taught me a lot how to do this, and we did other studies to do the same thing. And I just stopped getting out of my head and going what I can actually feel, because we can all develop this to the point where I can start to put my hand up around people and feel the energy where they have resistance and blockages. And even when we're starting to do the emotional work, I can tune in and I can actually feel what they're holding on to. And it's like, you can really feel this once you develop that. But it took some time for that to happen.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, is because you said, it took some time, right? But so the question I have for those who are watching is this an ability that we all have, but we're just not tuned into it?
Absolutely. Anybody can do this.
You could do that before, but you just didn't recognize, or you didn't, what do you call it? Consciously, we're not consciously aware that I was feeling something.
Yeah. And I think most people do this unconsciously. Even people that have a lot of intuitive gifts, they suppress it, they hide it. It's like they don't understand it. And we've seen this a lot with really talented people that can see, feel. There's more people than you realize that can actually do this. They're just afraid to show it.
And I think a big reason is because people will think they're weirdos, or that, they're weird. Yeah,
well, they are. I'm just kidding.
And I've been told I'm weird, and I'm like, yeah, I am.
But weird, weird is. It's
weird. We're all weird. I mean,
weird is being different.
Yeah, and that's so true. It's not the norm, right? Well, first, I have to give a shout out because Eric said, Lynda, you're an awesome interviewer. Wait, here we go. You are listening to the awesome Lynda, Veronica and Aaron instead of Aaron and Veronica. That's right. Awesome. Well, it's so true, because noticing that since I've been tapping into myself, like, who am I? I've been noticing some of these things. Oh, like, what they say, like, listen to your gut, right? Mm-hmm. I never really knew what that meant until I started discovering who I am. Do I listen to it all the time? No. Do I wish I did? Yes. And am I going to start from this moment forward? Yeah.
You do the best that you can.
Yeah, I did the best that I can with what I had, right? So here's the thing, is that when you start to listen to your gut and tap into that, that means there's a lot of no's you have to say to people. As a person who's a recovered people pleaser, that was the hardest thing for me ever to do, was to tell people no. Because if I told them no, they might not like me.
Mm-hmm. I used to have that same issue before, and I had to work through it because it was like,
shout out to all the people pleasers. You guys rock. You can't change. You don't have to live there.
I used to be the same way.
Him too. Yeah.
A lot of my decisions I made were based off of what would other people think, or it's like, would they like this? And if they did, that's the direction I would go. Even though it was my decision. It wasn't like they were choosing. It's like, what would look good in the eyes of other people? And I realized that I found maybe
that sucks.
It sucks. It doesn't give you satisfaction for a long period of time. It's like, oh, look at all this that I did. And they're like, oh, that's great. And then like, I didn't get the praise that I was expecting from all these people. And it's like, all of that it's false promises and short-lived expectations. And I find when I started doing what I wanted to do, everything was so much better.
Yeah, because then you're left with a sense of emptiness, because it's like, it doesn't matter all these things that you're doing. The way you feel on the inside is still empty because you're not doing what your spirit wants you to do, what you're guided to do, because you're in your head thinking like, oh, I wonder what they want me to do, or how would I look if I do this, versus going within and listening to what you truly want to do.
Yeah, that's so true. And Aaron, you said something kind of along, I didn't write it down exactly, but something along the lines of, I didn't get the praise that I wanted from them, right? Because so often we look outside of ourselves for that praise. And that's a lot of times what people pleasers will do, is they'll look outside for that praise. And then when we don't get it, it's very disappointing, very disheartening. So what if we praised ourselves?
What if?
It's like, man, look how awesome I am, right, Aaron Swanson? I'm so awesome. Like, really, if I don't think I'm awesome, why should anybody else?
Yeah, because again, we talk about energy, right? It's like, that's the energy that we put out. It's like, you can put on a big smile on your face, but if you feel like not good enough on the inside, people pick up on energy. They just don't know it. Here's the example. It's being in a crowd around people. Maybe you're in that elevator situation. There's someone standing right next to you, and you can just tell, like, there's something about them that either like, wow, I really like being around this person. They make me feel good. They have good vibrations, right? They have a good vibe. Or that person that looks like really creepy. They just, something sensitive. There's something with this person. I just need to get away from them.
You know who you are, you creepy people.
But it's what people feel on the inside is what really is what's sending out. And that's what people are picking up on. And so again, you can have the greatest smile, but it's like, people are, that doesn't feel right. Your smile, what you're saying doesn't match what I feel from that person. And it's like, how can you be genuine?
Yeah, because the first 51 years of my life, I had a smile on the outside, but I was not smiling on the inside. I was very lonely. Even I've been married. I was happily married, still happily married, but happily married to my current husband. But inside of me was still that child who was miserable, that woman who married somebody who was not a very nice person, my first husband, but so all of that was inside of me. And you're so right, Aaron, because when I look at pictures of me, like when I was pregnant with my son, oh my God, I can see the darkness. I can see it. And that's who I was on a regular basis. And I was walking around with this fake smile on my face, pretending that I was happy. And I wasn't. But I didn't really know what happiness was until I became happy. So it's kind of like this, like, it's catch-22, right? Right.
Yeah. And then you carry that story with you, but until you choose to let it go, like, this is no longer me, then it's like, okay, this is the true Lynda. This is, you're expressing the person that you've always wanted to be, or, you're creating things that you've always wanted to create, where before you were probably fearful of doing it because of the response you would get. So now that you're opening up and you're letting go, it's like a whole new Lynda.
It really is. And it was that fear of judgment. There's that saying that, more people are scared, like they're terrified of speaking on stage than they are of dying. And, that's the saying, right? But I don't really believe that there's a fear of speaking on stage. I think the fear is the fear of judgment of what people will think of you while you're speaking on stage. So it goes way beyond just speaking on stage. It goes to everything. Like, what are a lot of the things you will not do because you're worried about, what are those people going to think about me? Like, sometimes I'll just dance. I'm at Home Depot. I love the music at Home Depot. Okay. Like, I'm like, my husband says, I'm going to go to Home Depot. Can I go with you? Because I'm totally playing my music and I'm walking around. I'm like, can I push the cart? Because I want to walk and dance, And it's, but I'm being goofy and weird, but you know what? I am in my element because I'm so excited when I'm hearing that kind of music, and it really just changes everything about me. It's really interesting. But do I get, the first time I did it, feel a little weird? Yeah. But I still did it. And now I do it. And I look around to see if anybody's watching to see, hey, you going to join in? It's a totally different, it's like, I'm not watching for them to be critical of me. I'm watching to see if they're smiling. Did I make that person laugh? Did I make that person smile? It's really awesome.
And that's what I was going to say, that you radiate that laughter, that energy to those who, who are in your presence. So by you doing that, even if they're laughing because they think it's funny, they're still laughing, and it's bringing like a higher vibration to them. So that's awesome.
Oh, and that was something you mentioned earlier too, because like talking about vibration. When I got unlocked, like my whole body, like, whoa, it just like opened up, right? When that happened, I remember it. I was attending an event. It was like a 3-day event. This was several years ago. Mm-hmm. And something happened inside of my body. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what any of this stuff was. And my body was literally vibrating for 2 full weeks. It didn't stop for 2 weeks. That's how much pent up energy was inside of me. That negative energy was inside of me. And then suddenly, boom, it was like this burst of energy that literally came out, and I was vibrating at a different level, right? What's cool though, is that I learned how to vibrate at that higher level, that's no longer an energy that's like recognizable, because that's the energy I live in now on a regular moment by moment basis. Now I'm looking for that next burst to take me to that next level of energy. I haven't found it yet. I'm looking for it. If you're it, let me know.
But notice that what happened there is something shifted in you. You got an idea, a different change in perspective, and your physical energy changed almost instantly. Like, we have an unlimited source of energy that we can tap into. How many people are talking about how fatigued they are? They're looking for energy. They need to go to their coffees, their monster drinks, and all these stimulants to get them more energy. But why? Because a lot of their energy is being suppressed by unfulfilled desires. They're not happy with what they're doing. So if you're look at the person who's unhappy with what they're doing in their career or unhappy with a situation, like how could they be like really excited? Yay! I'm really excited about all this that's going on. But the person that really enjoys what they're doing is like, it gives them life every single day. That's why you see the people that are really making a big difference in their own life and the life of others, is they love what they do, and that gives them energy. And that's why I feel like, where do they get all this energy to do things? Because they love what they're doing.
Yeah. And it doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's so true. Is once I discovered my purpose, I don't feel fatigued. I feel just every day, what am I going to do today that's going to make a difference in somebody's life? Like, that's really my focus on a daily basis. And, hopefully, this interview, maybe we touch somebody today, right? And so that we did our job for the day. Awesome. Let's go see if we can do more of that same job, As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go to Home Depot today just for fun.
Do it. And do it live, Lynda.
I know, you should go live at Home Depot.
It's so funny. I love it. Well, I want to talk about what you guys do. Before we go there, let's hear some more accolades about Eric. Eric is like really pumping me up today. Thanks, Eric. I love it. High five. Have you ever high-fived yourself? I know Eric's all of Eric's sticks, right? Have you ever high-fived yourself in the mirror? You can miss. You never miss. I love it. And then Abigail says, very good points. And it's so true. I'm always feeling people's vibration, and I didn't know what it was. And so let me ask that. When you're feeling somebody's vibration that's more of maybe like a negative type of vibration, how do you move yourself beyond that? Or do you stay there? Like, what do you do? And like me, I remove myself when I'm feeling that. Where's my I'm looking around like, where's my escape route? I gotta go to the restroom. Oh, I'm suddenly feeling really sick. Just kidding. If I ever do that to you in public, you'll know why. Just kidding.
That can, if you're really in tune and someone's got something heavy, and Veronica can feel this easily, and I felt it a few times. And when someone's got something really heavy, it's like the energy is so like, I'll call it gunky, I guess, that it can physically make you sick if you're like the complete polar opposite of what that energy feels like. I know what's your experience.
Well, my experience in the past, I was married to someone that the moment he would come home, I would feel nauseous, and I sometimes have to go to the bathroom because the energy was so different, and it was just, we were complete opposites. And it was until I started doing the Reiki where I think just my whole vibration started to change. And it just kind of, instead of bringing us together, it pulled us apart because we were changing. So we weren't no longer matching anymore. And so it was just that yucky feeling every time, like the moment he'd come home, I just feel sick, and I couldn't take it anymore. It was too much, and I had to go.
That is so interesting because, there's some times you can get that when, like, if that person's name came up on your phone, right? You would have that, like, it's an immediate, like a trigger, I guess is the word we use, right? It's a trigger. I see that person's name. There's, you can see that person on, like, you see their name pop up on Facebook on somebody else's comments. Like, I'm not friends with that person. I blocked them, but they're still showing up on my comments. I don't know how that happens, but really there's like this trigger, right? And it's it's not emotional, right? What is it? What is it?
It's like an energetic thing. Maybe if either they're thinking of you or you're, if you see their name, now they're in your mind, and you're thinking about them. So a lot of times what we could be feeling is the contrast in energy. So if you're vibrating at a higher energy and they're still in that low energy, it's the contrast that you're feeling. And, it's just sending them, good intentions, send them love. And by sending them love is basically just wishing them well. Like, I wish you well. I send you
no bad thoughts.
Yeah, no bad thoughts towards them. Because the moment you send out a bad thought, like, I hope this happens to you, and you're only doing that to yourself because that's what you're putting out.
And this is what law of attraction is all about. We've been talking about it this whole time, but really the basis of law of attraction is law of vibration. If we understand what is the law of vibration, is that everything moves and nothing rests. If you look at all of us down at an atomic level, there's all these molecules that are vibrating and dancing in this computer. For us to have this signal between each other, there is a frequency going out and hitting all these satellites and bounce up in the computer, your whatever device you're on, your phone is picking up that signal. Well, thoughts are that same energy wave. We send out thoughts, and I once read that thoughts move about 186,000 miles per second. It's like even faster than the speed of sound. And it's our brain is the receiving station of all those thoughts. And so all the thoughts that have ever been thought in this world are always here. They're just floating in the air, in the ether, just like radio frequencies, television frequencies, all of those. And everything is on a frequency. Mm-hmm. And so we can tune into a thought based on the frequency. And our frequency really is the feelings that we have on the inside and what we're thinking about. And law of attraction only really responds to what you feel. It's not saying, oh, I want this in my life. And law of attraction says, oh, here it is. No, it's going to respond to what do you feel on the inside? Because what you say is completely different to what you feel. I could say, I want to have, millions and millions of dollars. But if my inside is saying like money sucks, that's what it's really responding to. And this is why people misunderstand what law of attraction is the key to it is what you feel and on the inside. We were talking about relationships a second ago, and you always hear that opposites attract. Well, that's not really true. It's actually, like attracts like when it comes to the law of attraction. So in a relationship standpoint, you can get two people that seem completely opposite. There's male, there's female. They can have completely different hobbies, things that they're interested in, and you say they're completely different, but they're actually the same because somewhere on the inside, they feel similar about themselves as the other person does. Maybe there are two people that have both insecurities or two people that have a lot of self-esteem within themselves and they want to thrive. And so what really is coming out from the inside, we talked about this earlier, is the energy that's putting out. It's not what I say, it's what I feel. And that's the vibration that people are picking up on.
So it could also be like in a relationship, if you have a lot of fear, like say, like you grew up in fear, and in a relationship, you don't want to attract someone that, I guess that's going to make you fear them, but because you're in that fear state, you're going to attract a person that is probably going to create situations in which you're fearful or you fear them. And even though it's not what you want, but because that's still in your system, that's still vibrating within you, you tend to attract that.
And that's what they're focusing on too. Yeah. I don't want this. I don't want this. When you focus on, you attract.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The whole thing is very interesting because they talk about affirmations, right? You should do these affirmations and what have you. And I believe in affirmations. So believe that you have to believe the affirmation. Mm-hmm. And so what I did, and I'm just going to give like really, really quick, an exercise that really helped me to discover who I am and then to believe that that's who I am. Is, my life coach gave me this homework assignment, and the assignment was to reach out to people that I knew and tell them, I'm working with a life coach. She told me to do this exercise. When I walk into a room, what shows up? That's the only question I ask them. When I walk into a room, what shows up? And then they would say, different adjectives, and I would write them all down. And I called 10 different people. So I got all these adjectives of what other people saw when I showed up.
Oh.
And I took those and I made myself believe that, wow, if that's what they see, that's the reality. I didn't believe
that. Could be good or bad, right?
Yeah, thankfully, I only called people that liked me.
You pick and chose.
Of course. You think I'm going to call you? Yeah, so I called these people.
Biased?
Really...
That wasn't a double-blind study.
Of course, it's triple blind. Yeah, but what is cool though is I created my own my own mantra for myself, and that is to see yourself through the eyes of others, for others see the real you. And so, of course, the positive people, not the negative. Don't listen to the negative people. And so on a daily basis, I would go through these mantras. I am this, I am that. Every I am statement was something that other people saw in me. But you guys, you know what? Because they saw it in me, and I believed that they knew what I was about more than I knew what I was about, I believe it now. And I truly 100% deep down believe within my core. And so that exercise helped me tremendously to believe what I really am. So now I just need to believe the $100 million right in the bank account.
You have to see it.
We'll get there.
See it in there.
And it's already there.
I want to say hi to Patty. She says, affirmations saved me. Mindset reset. Yeah. And he said, hola, Patty. Let's see. Oh, Abigail says, yes, do a live Home Depot video. So cool. So cool. I love it. Well, I want to share with everybody what you guys are currently working on. But before we go there, mastering emotions, before we go there, I want to just share that I had Aaron and Veronica. At that time, it was Aaron and Veronica, not Veronica and Aaron. So I'm going to make the switch. Don't worry. I will make the switch. Just like
everything now.
Well, just like 7-Eleven used to be called Speedy Mart. Until my dad passed away, he called it Speedy Mart. It was 7-Eleven for 20 years, So, but I'm going to adjust. Okay, so Veronica and Aaron, I had them on my show. I almost said Veronica and Aaronica. So that's going to be a problem. Okay, so I had you guys on my Aaron. Veronica. So I had you guys on my show about a year ago, I think it was, and you did some work on me, and it was so awesome. I was just sharing this because this was really awesome what they did. Here we were virtual, and I knew that I had to go into this. It was a session. They actually did a session with me live. It was so cool. If you guys want us to do it again, let us know, because I'd be more than happy to do it. It was really amazing. And I knew that in order for me to fully 100% take advantage of this session, I had to play full out as Lynda, 100%. So I was totally open, honest, vulnerable, everything, because I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to benefit from this session. And it was so cool because the issue that we worked on was me speaking on a stage in front of 20,000 people. Now, it hasn't happened yet, but I am so confident because of that one session with you guys. Prior to then, I think I had spoken in front of maybe up to 50 people, and you guys helped me to blast through, because I said 2,000 and I was like, wait a minute, let's do 20,000, 10x it, Grant Cardone, 10x it. So I'm totally 100% ready when that happens, because I know it will happen. I know it. I've put it out to the universe, and I talk about it all the time. I know it's going to happen. And when it does, I'm going to be 100% ready, because you guys readied me for that. So with that said, Patty says I was there. Yeah, it was so amazing to really, be in a vulnerable state in front of whoever was watching, and I'm totally up for that, because I know that if I can be vulnerable in front of other people, that it gives them permission also to be vulnerable. And it really is helpful when we're vulnerable. Okay. So lastly, the negative people are as valuable to me. And that's awesome, Patty. You're Patty's in a place where that is helpful for me. I'm still not in that place yet. My vibration isn't there yet where it can not absorb it. And so for me, I'm not really ready yet. And I know I will be ready at some point, but right now I'm not. And I think it's awesome that Patty is ready for that. And so, okay, so let's go on. You guys tell us about your new program you have going on, Mastering Emotions.
I'll let Aaron go.
All right. Well, this has been one of those things that we put into works in our vision, and it's the first of many visions that we have. And we've been talking about this whole time. Is when we talk about law of attraction, things we want to create. How can we create more joy, more love, more happiness in our life? And when we, as spiritual beings, we believe that we are spirits living in a human body in this human experience, and our basic law of our being is to create, to grow, to expand. But what can get in the way of us creating is all of the emotions, all the experiences from all the programming that we have been endowed with since we were conceived up until now, like I mentioned earlier. And so a lot of times what you were mentioning, Lynda, is it's getting rid of all of the old programming, all of the old thoughts, the things that trigger us, that bring up all of these negative emotions. Because as soon as those emotions are up to the surface or even lingering in the background, that's again the energy that we're putting out. And so what we've understood is if we really want to understand how law of attraction works, how to create things in our life, we have to really work through our emotions, because that's going to dictate whether we do or do not do something. But we have to understand how they work. And this is what we wanted to bring out. And this is what our Mastering Emotions program is. It's going to help people to understand our emotions so we can work through them. We'll even maybe do some we will do some live clearings if people are open.
Yeah, we're going to do live clearings. So people are, they will be in that vulnerable state, but it's going to be, there's not going to be any judgment. It's going to be all a safe environment for them to be able to express, because I think that's a key thing with a lot of people is they're not shown or taught how to express. And that's when all these emotions get stuck in our body, and you see outbursts of anger, you see a lot of depression, sadness. And this is going to be that outlet so people can open up and really let go of what they're holding on to and move towards their goals.
And it to be a safe place for people to do that. Because one of the reasons and one of the things that we've understood why people don't express what they're really feeling is they don't feel safe. If I express what's going to happen, maybe in the past they were programmed that if you say anything, you're going to get punished. You're going to go to your room, you're going to get hit. People are going to criticize you or make fun of you. Oh, don't cry, you're sissy, suck it up. All these different things that we've been taught that, and even through even society and media and movies, that showing emotion is not a good thing. But that is our true connection to our source. When we talk about really developing your intuition, the only way you can really tune into that energy is you have to get rid of all the emotions that are blocking that connection. And so when you come from a place of more joy, more excitement, more love, you're tapped and tuned and turned on, as Abraham Hicks would say. And that is really the key. Neville Goddard wrote this perfectly in a book that he said, feeling is the secret. It's the secret behind the secret. It's what we feel and what we put out. And the only way you can really tune into that energy.
We're getting some feedback there.
See, I'm talking so fast, it's coming into the background.
It is. It's coming back. It's slapping you back in the face.
That means it's powerful.
It really is. It's really interesting. You mentioned, like when I was a kid, right? There's a lot like, sit down and shut up. Kids are better seen than heard. All these different things that we hear when we're young. And those affect us so tremendously, and they can affect us for our entire lives unless we get help, that clearing. And so when we talk about the clearing, it's not about like getting rid of those memories or anything like that. It's about getting, this is my understanding. I'm just saying what I interpret. And it's about getting rid of the negative emotions around those memories. Is that kind of accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when you're holding on to that negative emotion, it's still going to affect you. So even though you say, oh, well, I worked on it, but if you still have that emotion, you're carrying that into the next relationship, the next job, the next whatever that's coming up for you. And everything starts within. So if you have a money issue, it has nothing to do with money. It's about what you feel on the inside, whether you're deserving, whether or not you think you can do it. There's so many different factors, but it all starts from within.
And this is what we help people with.
So I discovered is that my money issue that I had, because I have cleared it, which has been awesome. But the money issue that I had to really, really go back. And I realized that it was that when my dad would hurt my mom, he would make it up to the family by taking us out to either eat somewhere or he would buy us something. So I related money to that kind of like a punishment, and then money was the reward, right? And so also I related money to love, because that was my dad's way of showing his love. I don't remember ever hearing words "I love you" to me from either of my parents, and I think they just didn't know how to say it. To us, to me at least. I don't know about the other kids. I heard them say it to adults later. I would hear them say "I love you" to strangers. Like, I didn't even know these people. They would say it to them, but never to me. And that really hurt me. But I think, like, as I look back, is just because they didn't know how.
Yeah.
That was how they were conditioned from their parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So clearing that was so valuable and important to me. And you see that money has nothing to do with love. Zero. It's just a currency. It's a way of exchanging services, products or services, and that's it. There's no emotional attachment. So if we can release that emotional attachment to money by going through your program, the Mastering Emotions program, then just think of what your life can be. You can't imagine. You cannot imagine, because as far as you imagine is limited to you.
Yeah.
It's beyond, way beyond your imagination of what you can do. I'm talking to you, Aaron and Veronica and Aaron. I'm talking to everybody. Because I learned about myself, like limited thinking. That's what limited thinking is all about. It's like we limit ourselves based on our own knowledge.
Yeah. If we understand like just the equation of life and how it works is, if you want to know like what vibration I'm in right now, what are my thoughts that I've been thinking? Well, look at our current results, each and every one of us. And there's results in different areas. There's our results in relationships. There's our results in our health and fitness. There's results in our business and finances, a career. But it's like, look at the one that you're probably doing really well in one area and another may be lacking. How do we create that balance? And so look at your results, and that's really telling you the vibration that you're in, because it all starts in thought. Everything starts with an idea. And then you attach an emotion to that, good or bad. And that's going to lead to your behavior or the actions that you take. And it's your actions that are going to lead into the results that you're getting. And so if you're not getting the right results you want in your life, or it's like, what did I mess up? Let's go back somewhere in the equation and figure out where did we get it wrong? And I'll bet you somewhere in there's a thought process and emotional process that's behind most of it.
This is so awesome. And this actually was perfect. And don't even know if you knew this, Aaron, but this is perfect because we're towards the end of the show. And the last question I like to ask, but before we go to that question, you guys, follow them on Facebook at Aaron and Veronica, and then you check out their Mastering Emotions program, see what it's all about, see if it's something that can help you. It's all I can tell is I've already worked with them on a couple occasions, and it's amazing what they do together. It's individually great too, but together, man, it's just a powerhouse. Absolutely awesome. So the last question I like to ask my guests is, because I run a program called Women Action Takers. So Women Action Takers, masterminds, symposiums, summits, like Women Action Takers. We're all over the place. And so the last question I like to ask is about action. What is one action step? So from each of you, I want to hear from each of you. What is one action step the audience can take today, tomorrow, or next week that is going to bump them up to the next level in their personal or professional business life?
Well, I think the first thing is make a decision that if it's something you want to change, make a decision today that you're going to change. And because if you don't make a decision and you're kind of going back and forth, then it's not going to work. But the moment you make that decision to create change in your life, things will automatically start to change. And then you take the action, even if it's like a little step, because everything starts in baby steps. So you can take a small step towards that change that you want to create.
Mm-hmm. And it's indecision that creates procrastination.
Yeah.
Think about that. For me, to piggyback off that, because this is from my own personal experiences, you have to be aware that there is something that needs to be changed, because most people run idle, that they think that nothing can be changed. But once you're aware that we are the creators of our own experience, we can change that. But the first key to that, and this is also what Napoleon Hill talks about, is that first key point of getting riches in any area of our life, is you have to know what you want. And have you really identified what that is? Have you articulated it either in your mind or on paper? And when you ask people what is it they want, most people are like, I don't really know. And so you can't really make a change in your life if you don't know what that change is going to be or what it even looks like. And so we even talk about this with like our daughter, and I've been there in the past when a birthday comes up or Christmas is coming around the corner. It's like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? I don't know. And so that person that's on the other hand, imagine that's source, that's universe wanting to give you anything that you ask for. And you're indecisive, like, I'm not really sure. So, okay, then I'm just going to assume that you want this based on what you're putting out there. And the person's like, oh, thanks. And it's like it's a hit or miss whether they really want that or not. So know what it is that you want. And it might take you some time to really sit down and just sit down in a quiet place and think of, what is it that I do want? Not what do I, like I mentioned earlier, not what do I think what other people want for me? What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to have? How do I want to be moving forward on? And then from there, you can start creating. But the key thing to that is when you start to do that, the first thing that's always going to come up into the mind is you say, well, how am I going to do that? That is not your job right now. You're just here to focus on what do you want? And what would make you happy? Because if you're happy, that's the energy you're going to put out, and it's going to make other people around you even happier. So get clear of what it is that you want in all areas. Start with one area that you feel would make the biggest difference in your life, and go from there, because that made the biggest difference in our life once I got clear what our big vision was, what we really wanted to create. Because
then making that decision to move forward with that.
Yeah, and then decide to do it. So first one is know what you want, and then decide to do it.
Wow, this is awesome. I love it. It's interesting because when I do ask that question of people, so far nobody has given the same answer, which has been really cool. Awesome. But I love how the responses are never what I imagine the people are going to say. They're always way better. So this is so cool. So you say, okay, know what you want. And I love how you guys you expounded on it. It wasn't just like, know what you want, boom, right? You expounded on that. And you said you can't make change if you don't know what the change looks like. And it's so true. And then focus on what do you want, and make sure that when you're focusing on what you want, don't think about how it's going to affect other people, because first you need to figure out like what it is for you. Sometimes the decisions you make, and you make that decision, are decisions that are going to be tough. Sometimes those decisions might be to extricate some people from your life because they're not serving your highest power, your highest good while you're here on this planet. It is tough. Trust me, I know. I've been going through it, and it has totally changed my life, though, by stepping into that, knowing what I want, being very definitive about it. And then what happens is that law of attraction kicks right in, right? And it says, here it is. Are you ready for it?
Are you ready?
And sometimes it gets in the way. Fear gets in the way and prevents you from having it. So you got to just like step aside and let the universe work to conspire for you. So, oh my gosh, it's been awesome. I always love having you guys. I have you on again and again, of course. But I love having you guys here. You guys go check them out. You're welcome. You're welcome. I love it. I love it. So go to bit.ly/mastering-emotions, and then also follow them on Facebook at Aaron and Veronica. They might switch it to Veronica and Aaron. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. Because, maybe they're
put out there, isn't it?
Inspired again.
We're definitely rebranding right now, so we'll work on that.
There we go.
And Lynda, we are looking for volunteers to be in that vulnerable space to do a live clearing. So if anyone is interested in that, reach out to us and we'll set it up and do a live clearing.
Yeah, or put it in the comments. Say, I want a live clearing. I want a live clearing. Put that in the comments below. That way we'll both know that you're interested, because I love to see what peeps are doing out there. And it's so amazing, you guys. And being in that vulnerable state in front of the whole world. And there's nothing like it, because that is the ultimate vulnerability. It is that ultimate place. And so if you will allow yourself to be vulnerable front of the whole world, I don't know what happens, but it's amazing when I did it. I just felt so powerful. I think that's what it was. I felt powerful.
Yeah, because you're allowing that whatever was there to be released, and it doesn't matter who's watching, but it's also giving them the okay to be vulnerable and to let go. Yeah, because it's like, oh, if Lynda can do that, I can do that too.
And also too, we talk about is we're not the only ones that go through these experiences, and the person that's afraid to share it and see somebody else that's going through the exact same thing, it's like we're giving them permission unconsciously to be able to express for themselves. And that's why we decided to do this program, is because we've done it in a group setting where we work on one person and there's a group, and not just that person is expressing all their emotion. Everybody in the audience was expressing it. And we did this in front of a bunch of male athletes, and then we had all these guys crying in this setting because it was triggering something for each one of them just by being in that energy. So everybody gets a healing effect, and that's what this Mastering Emotions program is going to be about.
I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much. It's awesome. I always love what you're doing. And of course, I'm going to keep stalking you, following me. Hey, tell the truth, stalking. Go check them out. Bit.ly, bit.ly. Yeah, I'll be in the fireplace and I'm there. So you guys have a great day, and thank you so much for being here. Lynda Sunshine West with Living Life. You're helping women entrepreneurs gain confidence to ask for their worth, clarity to attract clients to them, and focus so that they can get faster results. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.